we need to strive to head towards zero. The road toll should be at zero.
If you want an absolute guaranteed zero road toll, is if we just force everyone to buy a Mazda RX-8, it's game over for the road toll. She's done and dusted.
You got to tell the twins too when you get back home, dude. We need more bench talk. Weekly. We need them weekly. Oh, God, they're funny, those two.
Nice. Very nice.
Jordo, if you live in Victoria and you actually drive on the roads, you know one thing, the roads are absolutely buckled. We're talking potholes, ripples, doesn't matter where you drive, whether it's in Melbourne, the local Woolworths, rural, you can't drive more than 3 minutes without pretty much in fear of buckling your wheel or just riding your car completely off. And you know what? It's going to get a whole lot worse.
And I'll say it 100 times if you want, we may not agree on that. I'm not going to apologise.
Instead of driving and looking in the distance, you just basically fixated on the actual pavement in front of you, just getting ready to do a quick sharp turn of the wheel just to avoid some absurd pothole on the road. That's what it's turned to. Bit like walking down the footpath and looking for a dog turd at the last second. That's what it's like the whole time you're driving now.
Doesn't matter where you go in rural and regional Victoria and beyond, the lack of maintenance on our local roads over a long period of time has come home to roost, is my view. And that is a responsibility of state governments.
This is the best outcome that Victoria could get.
Our small rural councils have tens of thousands of kilometres of road that they are responsible to maintain. And without programs like Roads to Recovery out of federal governments and significant support from state governments, they can't actually maintain those roads.
Pork Barrel Bridget was a federal LNP government member and an alleged representative of rural Victoria for 11 years. Well, I don't know if it's alleged, it's either true or not, but bitching, nothing has been done in rural Victoria. That person's not happy with her. The first thing Vic Roads does when a road begins to degrade is to reduce the speed limit down to 80. Now this is true, I've seen this everywhere. After they ignore it for the next 10 years or so, they put up signs saying rough surface. We've seen this exactly on the way to Heathcote. Instead of fixing it, just rough surface and slow the speed down to about 60. Apparently fixing the road doesn't even enter into it. It's pretty true.
No, that's damn true. And on top of that rough surface, Joe, that's a prime position. Now just park a couple of speed cameras in there.
A couple of Hyundai Santa Fe's or whatever they are on the side of the road. Just look out for those. Spot them a mile away.
With a freshly glistening rear window.
And
always clean those things.
Miraculously, some guy just sitting in the passenger seat. Why would you be sitting in the passenger seat by yourself? Bit of a giveaway too if it's cold and you can actually see steam. The actual car's running just on the side of the road. But anyway,
I drove past one once about a month ago on the highway, and I slowed down because someone was pulling out in front of me, so I had to slow down. It was right where the camera was on the highway. There was like a dirt B road, and I swear the back rear like quarter panel had been egged. You could see the splatter of the orange and the eggshells and shit on the ground.
Oh, that's a shame.
Neglecting rural road. No, hang on.
Somebody get him some water, please.
Neglecting rural areas to try and save for Dan's billion-dollar blunders.
Billions and billions and billions of dollars over and above the budget.
He hasn't wasted any money.
A final settlement, $380 million.
Well, Dirty Dan spent the money on netball and advertising. What a great bloke he thinks he is.
Not a dollar more.
Remember he came to the rescue with the netball team?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
$2 billion was cut from our infrastructure budget in this state alone by the federal government, let alone Daniel Andrews' lack of funding of anything past Werribee.
Well, I take responsibility for everything that occurs in our government.
Bullshit.
If you want to fix rural roads, you have to kick 3 million people out of Melbourne and make them live in smaller towns. Victoria has a population of 6.5 million, of which 5.1 live in Melbourne. They don't give a crap about rural areas.
100% agree. As George Nomang would say, 100%.
100%.
But if you're driving both, the roads in Melbourne are terrible compared to what they were 5 years ago. Potholes everywhere. There's a pothole just opened up the street here. It's been there for about 3 weeks, and it's getting deeper and deeper. Now it's full of water. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's getting pretty deep. And I thought, you just know which lane to drive in. And I thought, this won't be fixed. The the only remedy, let's get serious. Go down to the local Bunnings, grab yourself a neon yellow or pink fluoro can of spray paint, cock and balls around the pothole, and usually that gets them fixed. That used to get them fixed.
There's a pothole on the main road here that they've filled in about, I reckon, at least 5 times. And how long does that last? A month? And then it crumbles away. The locals literally have they call it Pothole Pete or something. They have a nickname for this part of the road.
Yeah.
This is an article from Shepparton News titled Regional Roads in Crisis. Travelling on the roads of regional Victoria, hold tight, it's a bumpy ride ahead. The Victorian government's decision to cut 45% of the road maintenance budget since 2020, including a further 25% in this year's budget, has been met with criticism.
What?
That's
45
a lot of,
plus 25. But what?
That's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of cash.
Victoria, I should say, it's a lot of debt, isn't it? There's no cash. No cash.
There's no cash here.
There can be no economic recovery.
Hey, just that Commonwealth Games money.
$380 million, not a dollar more.
Could have been pretty handy right about now. What do you reckon?
Not a dollar more.
The matter is closed out and finalised.
Hey, Jordo, he saved us billions. Hang on. He has saved us billions.
Billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Victoria's roads have seen dramatic deterioration, and State Member for Euroa, Annabelle Cleland, is calling out what she sees as financial incompetence.
Absolutely useless.
Miss Cleland said it was shocking to learn this week the government had subsequently slashed $120 million from its road resurfacing budget.
This is unacceptable.
There are potholes, crumbling roadsides and compromised surfaces in almost every town in Euroa.
I'm not going to apologise.
These roads are causing problems for commuters, the transport industry and visitors to our region. Labor's pothole patching program is cheap, temporary and has been totally ineffective.
She's got that right.
Then the shadow, whatever the opposition, what's he saying? They've pointed out that some locals had taken to spray painting messages such as "fix our roads."
I think spray painting messages actually means cock and balls.
The budget papers released in May listed the road area to be resurfaced across metropolitan and regional Victoria as TBC. Maybe they just meant terribly bad condition. The government said that this extreme rainfall, here we go, the
rainfall.
The extreme rainfall has led to unprecedented damage to the roads, with new potholes continuing to open up months after the peak of the floods due to the amount of water left sitting under the surface.
So it must be a bit of that.
Global boiling.
Jordan, I've heard that they've cut something like over 200 billions and billions.
Billions and billions and...
$200 million
That is not a joke. That is a natural fact.
from the road maintenance program in the last few government cycles. And word on the street is that they need at least $1 billion just to fix the potholes out of Melbourne. I'm talking about just potholes, fixing the roads in rural Victoria. That's not even including fixing pothole Pete down the road from you.
But according to an Andrews government spokesman, it is delivering, oh here we go, here comes the spin. The largest road maintenance program in Victoria's history, with more than $4 billion renewing and maintaining the state's roads since 2018.
Where? Since 2018? So that's, what, 5 years ago? Where's the money? Show me the money. Where's the pothole fixes?
He reckons he spent $4 billion. I think he's spending $4 billion tunnelling holes.
He's making his own potholes. It's funny though, you look at this, standard politics, you got one side saying they're cutting money, and one side saying they've got, record amount of money being spent. All you have to do is actually go for a drive and see there's no money being spent anywhere.
There's a push to reform the law so it's easier for motorists to claim for damage caused by potholes. Lawyers say, as things stand, getting compensation from Vic Roads or councils is too hard and too expensive.
Right around Victoria, pothole rage.
Probably 100 more down this road. It's pretty pathetic, really.
Mechanics inundated with pothole casualties.
crack rims, damage rims, people go out losing their temper.
You can sue councils or Vic Roads if you have a pothole accident, but you must prove they already knew about the road damage. And if road authorities have budgeted for repairs but have not yet done them, that's a defence.
What? You know what's ridiculous about it? You got to prove that they haven't allocated money for pothole Pete, right? So if they've allocated money to fix the pothole and you drive through it today and destroy your limited edition TE37 Rays, like completely buckle them, right? And then they go and fix the pothole it was going to be fixed next week, they don't have to pay you.
How do you prove the money was allocated?
Oh, how can you fight any of this? It's just a whole blame game back and forward between Vic Roads and local council.
In a magical world of unicorn and rainbows, you're telling me you contact the council and they just email you back this information and just go, there you go, sir, this is what you're after? Because that's going to happen.
They're just going to send out a new wheel order through Import Monster, and you're just going to get a set of those limited edition Rays that are just coming in the mail from the local council.
It's false. No way. Not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
So there's a push to reform the law so it's easy for motorists to claim damage. Because they say...
So let's read between the lines here, Jordo. Hit pause. Nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. This is nearly as good as the, what is the fuel watch or whatever. We'll just keep an eye on fuel prices and make sure they don't go up.
There's no fuel cycling. Sure. No, that doesn't happen. Hold the phones. Instead of fixing the roads, the real problem are those SUVs. The experts have spoken.
Murder, death, kill.
Road safety experts propose levy on SUVs in city to curb rising Victoria road deaths.
Hey, let's hit pause for a sec. How do you become a road safety expert? Is there some sort of course you can do, or
a road safety expert?
Is it a course like gender studies, Jordo? Like, is it right up there at the top echelon of science?
The road safety expert, guaranteed, has a company car. They're not paying for fuel. They're not paying for the car. Probably getting a few other motoring perks. They sit in the left. Actually, they probably sit in the right lane. Probably do 30 on the limit. Hold everyone up. Worst driver on the roads.
Get the fuck out of here.
A levy charge to people who drive large SUVs in the city has been mooted as a possible way to curb Victoria's skyrocketing road deaths since the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, let's introduce another tax. That'll fix it.
That'll fix it. Yep, standard government mentality.
So as of the end of August, the road toll here is $197. Last year it was $157. It is strange that they expect the road toll to go down though when they never mention the population increases every year that are living here.
We've also had this year, if you have a look at stats, there's been a record number of new car sales. So
yeah, more cars on the road, yeah.
More cars on the road.
Clearly their crappy speed cameras aren't working because everyone's terrible driver. Let's hear from the experts. Ingrid Johnson from the Australasian College of Road Safety said trauma rates had increased. Among the strategies put forward by the ACRS to help mitigate the problem were financial disincentives for the use of large SUVs, which are also known to particularly affect vulnerable road users such as cyclists.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Part of me, I mean, I understand people want to ride a bike. I'm not a cyclist, but God damn it. At some point, why can't I just get on my skateboard or just go for a jog down the main road and just hold traffic up? It's absurd. Get your bike, go to a bike path, seriously.
I was cruising next to a guy down like Great Ocean Roadway towards Anglesea the other day, and I was in an 80 zone, and I was cruising next to a guy and I matched his speed. He was doing 75 on an electric bike, just a normal sit-up bike, fanging it.
Did he even have a helmet on?
He did, but he just had normal clothes on. You know, like...
Yeah. 75. There's no way that's legal.
75 k's an hour, right? And I'm thinking, that's bloody unreal. And we get to a big roundabout, like a large two-lane roundabout, and I had a car in front of me which, had to... they treat them as stop signs, so they've got to stop. So this car's, in front of me come to a stop even though there's no one there. This bike has just... I don't even think he backed off. He went through at 75. By the time this car went through and I caught up to him, it was like 2 k's past the roundabout before I caught him. This bloke was gone.
Yeah, I think he's not going to be lasting too long riding like that. You could try, this is regarding the SUVs, you could try to disincentivise them being used in the middle of cities, so you could have a levy for bringing a certain vehicle of certain size. You could increase registration fees.
Melbourne, the most livable city. Let's just keep taxing. Tax, tax, tax. That'll fix it. What is she going on about? The only way to fix this, Jordo, is to put more speed cameras in. More speed cameras? We can justify the road toll goes up, more speed cameras is going to bring them down. The road toll goes down, speed cameras are working, so we can justify putting more in. It's just a win-win situation for the government revenue office. The reality is, the road toll is going to plummet when we're all driving EVs, Jordo, because those guys love sitting in the left lane on the highway doing 80 k's an hour, because, you know, the slower you drive, the road toll comes down. We all know that. Like, that's just been working wonders for the last 20 years. But the real key is, if you want an absolute guaranteed zero road toll, is if we just force everyone to buy a Mazda RX-8, it's game over for the road toll. She's done and dusted.
Two couples in their 70s on a road trip to visit family in Melbourne killed just as they crossed the border. The truck was travelling northbound towards Sydney around 10:30 yesterday morning when the group approached the freeway from Winkies Road and pulled out in front.
This accident is terrible, you know, for the people involved, obviously, and the families.
I would say it's not ideal to have people joining a 110-kilometre road 0 to 110.
I've seen this plenty of times. I do a lot of rural driving. I've driven around Victoria, just about every town in Victoria, right? There's a lot of roads where you've got, it might be a B-grade highway, so it's a 100 zone, and then there's an underpass, overpass. So the truck's coming over the overpass, and it's sort of a bit blind, and you've got no run-up. It's not like you've got a merging lane on the freeway. You've literally got to pull out, and fair enough, he's probably looked back and hasn't seen the truck, and the truck would have hit him. You know, he's probably doing 20 k's an hour, didn't even see it. But, like, obviously, you've got to be a bit more attention in these situations. But the design of the roads on some of these overpasses is pretty sketchy from what I've seen. Unfortunately, that style of accident is always going to happen. That's not going to go away. Because at the end of the day, it's driver, you know, unfortunately, the driver obviously wasn't paying enough attention.
Like everyone, I'm sick of it. And you wonder about what else do we have to do or say.
197 lives have been lost so far this year. That's up by 40, and September is historically bad.
This policeman at the press conference, look, I feel for him. You wouldn't want to get up there and talk about this. You know, people have lost their lives. So not a very nice thing to do, and he's got to do it in his job. But he's sort of saying, what else can we do? I mean, let's be honest. For the last 30-odd years, the government have put the fear of God into people that if they speed, they're going to die. And somehow, if you don't break the speed limit, you're a good driver, like a slow driver's a safe driver, when it couldn't be anything more further from the truth. I mean, you go for a drive and after 10 minutes, what you see, people they cannot perform the most basic of tasks. And until the government seem to realise this, it's just, unfortunately, the cycle's just going to keep repeating itself. And even with safer cars, how do you stop it? I don't know. They won't seem to think we've got to have a completely different approach to it. It's just doing the same thing again, over and over, expecting a different result. Yeah, like 10 years ago, I was at Vic Roads. I think I was getting my licence renewed or something, and I overheard like an L-plater had got they'd just passed their probationary, you know, their driving tests to get their Ps. And I'll never forget I wouldn't say the instructor, it was the person performing the actual test. It was a Vic Roads person, said to it was a young guy, said to him, look, I'm not going to mark you down, but you did 85 kilometres an hour on the on-ramp he must have been on a freeway. That's really too fast. You shouldn't really be entering the freeway at more than 80. For starters, first I was shocked that they even do a freeway entrance on a driving test.
I think they have to now, don't they?
Oh, that's great. That's great that they do. But seriously, 80 k's an hour? 85's too fast when the traffic's in 100? Like,
you know what really grinds my gears?
Don't get me started on on-ramp speed. It does my head in every time I enter the freeway.
Yeah.
The other day, 70 k's, I'm stuck behind someone. And all you're thinking is, you don't want to keep you're trying to look over your shoulder and the traffic's hammering down. And all you think is, I don't trust this person in front of me because if they're coming on a 70,
they're going to brake.
There's a chance they'll actually brake and go slower, and you could end up rear-ending them. Well, so you kind of keep it, and then you try as soon as you can get gap, you try and cut across.
Good luck, everybody else.
And then you're trying to give way to them, even though they're in front of you. They're going so slow, it's mental. Coming on doing 40 under the limit.
Jordo, this is just old man's yelling at clouds right now.
Shut up!
Maybe we can take some cars off the road with the policies that they're using in London at the moment. In the UK, they now have this system called ULEZ, or Ultra Low Emission Zone cameras. ULEZ is a system which scans a car's number plate in London and fines them if they do not have the correct permit to travel in certain areas. So which district are you from and whether you can go there?
Access denied.
Vehicles that don't pass clean emission rules will have to pay to drive into London £12.50 for older cars and £100 for some bigger vehicles. This is just to drive into London.
This is per day.
It's a modest charge.
The ULEZ scheme has been around since 2019, but from the end of August, these restrictions now apply to Greater London.
And you think that won't get bigger?
This change aims to put people off driving into the city and clean up London's air with fewer toxic emissions from more polluting vehicles.
This sounds like a conspiracy, like maybe 15-minute cities.
Global boiling.
I think this is good, as it will help improve air quality and help the environment as long as they are supporting people on the lowest incomes with money to swap their car.
Oh, yeah.
Got news for you. You're not going to get any money to swap your car. You won't own a car. Are they starting to put the picture together yet? I'm pretty sure people have been offered £2,000 so they can sell their old beater and buy an electric car. Yeah, you can buy the £40,000 electric car. It's quite affordable.
But the last time I checked, about a quarter of all the cameras have been destroyed or vandalized, and extra police resources have needed to be mobilized to actually stop these people from what they're doing.
Oh no! Anyway.
That's right, they've put out over 1,700 of these ULEZ cameras up, and I think I read over 400 have been demolished or vandalised or damaged in some way already.
That's only in the last few weeks, I think.
That's a shame.
Yeah, there's actually been some pushback from the public.
And so most people just don't understand why this is necessary, other than to effectively impoverish people that are already struggling to get by. So the people that are effectively vandalizing these ULEZ cameras are very incensed and they're very serious. And even people that aren't are still outraged by this policy.
They've been taken down by people known as the Blade Runners.
The ULEZ Blade Runners. Around 100 activists all using any means necessary to disable cameras, taking the fight against the London Mayor's clean air policy to the streets.
The decision to expand the Ultra Low Emission Zone to all of London was a difficult one. It wasn't an easy one.
Around 2 million motorists could be dodging Sadiq Khan. So Sadiq Khan is the mayor, isn't he, of London?
Yes.
They've been dodging his ULEZ cameras, a police investigation has suggested. Fears have grown. Listen to the language. Fears have grown among government advisors that controls over purchasing of fake number plates are not strict enough and could lead to thousands of people escaping justice.
I am the law!
Look, they're escaping justice, which means they're not getting fined by these tyrant governments. Escaping justice. Justice. Police have suggested that as many as 1 in 15 road users could be doctoring their number plates in a bid to avoid being caught on camera. Surely that's coming to Victoria soon.
Blade Runners are supported by an online community that maps the location of London's almost 2,700 ULEZ cameras. The red pins show working units. The black ones have been disabled.
See what happens? You see what happens, Larry?
Jordo, are you telling me we've recorded bench talk and you haven't spoken about electric cars this whole time?
Please. Considering purchasing an EV. Question is the eco aspect of the car, is it programmable? To me, the rate of acceleration and regenerative braking seems fundamental to the kilowatts per hours per kilometres. God, that's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? So can you program the car to accelerate more efficiently and brake more efficiently? To me, that would seem much better eco-wise when no traffic to get to 100. So say 20 or even 30 seconds to get up to 100 k's an hour rather than 6. Rather than 6. You don't have to floor the car. Just use your right foot a bit differently.
Do they not understand what the accelerator is for?
Look, if you're prepared to drive at 90 k's instead of 110, that makes a fair difference. Yeah, no worries. Just do 20 under the limit. That's going to end up.
Well, there you have it.
Creating traffic, not creating traffic bottlenecks at all.
There you have it, Geordie. There's the solution to the road toll.